day to celebrate Earth Day. It's a particularly good day for wind power today. My name is Rit Agarwal. I'm the Chief Climate Officer for New York City and Commissioner of the Department of Environmental Protection, and it's my pleasure to welcome you here to celebrate Earth Day 2022 and to launch Building Action NYC, our new citywide campaign to make New York City's buildings greener and more resilient. I want to thank all of you for being here as we take this important step to reach carbon neutrality by 2050. I'd particularly like to recognize a couple of guests, Congresswoman Grace Meng, Councilmember Schulman, and a couple of colleagues from the administration, Kizzy Charles Guzman, Executive Director of the Mayor's Office of Climate and Environmental Justice, Jessica Katz, our Chief Housing Officer, and Gus Sirakis, Acting Commissioner of the Department of Buildings, and also a few guests who are here as supporters. John Mandyke, Executive Director of the Urban Green Council, Donna DiCostanza from the National Resources Defense Council, Richard Yancey from the Building Energy Exchange, and Pat McClellan from the New York League of Conservation Voters. And then, without further ado, our most important green leader in New York City on this Earth Day, Mayor Eric Adams.
Thank you, Red. And we can't be in the borough of Queens without acknowledging our amazing Queensborough president. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. You know, I was adopted by Queens many years ago, graduate of PS 140, IS 8, and Bayside High School. And so I am a Queens person as well as a Brooklynite. An important day, and Rick, thank you. We were together yesterday with former President Clinton in the Empire State Building. We were together earlier this week announcing several other green initiatives. Rit is really a star of our team. He is the marquee player that we're going to build our team around as we deal with the environmental issues that we're facing. And today, the announcement of launch of the Building Action New York City campaign and a partnership here. Because this is what it's all about when we talk about how do we move forward with the decarbonization of our city. Oftentimes left out of the conversation are the small co-ops and condominiums. For many years, I lived in a small co-op in Brooklyn, on the board, understanding, navigating how do we make sure we pay for the repairs, the upkeeps, the rent, the light, the gas. The co-ops of this city during our most difficult times. Having a co-op like this is what really just sort of anchored us and kept our city moving in the right direction. Teachers, firefighters, accountants, business people. It was a transition into purchasing a home, first having your co-op or your condominium. And so, as Rit indicated, our focus is 2050. We're not going to be sidetracked. We're not going to be derailed. We're going to continue to focus, how do we decarbonize our city in 2050? And we want New York to be the leader in climate change and protecting our environment and our climate, and that's what we're focused on. And when you look at the fact that buildings, as Bill Clinton said to me the other day when we were talking, buildings are our largest emitters of carbon. It comes from buildings. 70% of the city's carbon emissions, more than any other source, comes from buildings. If we get buildings right, we get the entire process right. And so what are we going to do about it? That's the question that people ask. Well, let's turn that question mark into an exclamation point. We're going to do the right things to decarbonize our city. We're investing in converting our buildings to renewable energy sources and electric-based systems. And once we do the buildings, you're going to see an evolution of our vehicles, our school buses. We can use clean energy coming from electricity, from wind power, so many other sources. This is an amazing time to be a part of this initiative of saving our environment for future generations to come. And what I see in my schools, our children are so ready. They want to be part of this movement, and the mere fact we're talking about it We are doing the butterfly effect. That energy is now in the universe. We're thinking differently about decarbonizing our planet. We're investing in so many ways of accomplishing this that we will be rolling out in the years to come. And this is how we achieve the carbon-free future for New York. And when you partner with local co-ops and boards and businesses, you come together on one focus and one agenda. The New York City Accelerator has already provided free assistance to over 9,000 buildings to help them achieve the climate goals, because this stuff can get complicated, filling out the forms, filling out the documents, moving through the bureaucracy. It's just so complex that those who are attempting to get the services never receive them because they become frustrated. As we see Mr. Decarbonizing walking in the room right now. Come on, Jim. You know, our councilman is here. And so the Fair View Co-op, they have a fair view of the future by accomplishing the task here. How many of you are here from the co-op? You are leaders. Love you. Love you. How are you doing? You know that? I want a dog so bad. Love it. And so thank you, Fairview. You're the symbol of what we can do, this beautiful location that you live in. Let me tell you what they've done in the time. They've installed LED lighting. They added solar panels. They made buildings more livable and green in a real way, something simple that we can do. Sometimes we feel and we're overwhelmed by this thought without realizing if we just decrease our footprint. Those LED lightings, the solar panels, what you accomplish here is a symbol for the city. The decisions that are made here in Fairview, making today is protecting our future, and they're taking the lead, and we're just really proud to team with them. So I'm urging all New Yorkers, all building owners, co-ops, condominiums, private homes, we're saying look into the Accelerator program and see what you can do to retrofit your buildings as we move towards decarbonization. Bill Clinton shared something else with me that the former Mayor Bloomberg did during the summer youth employment. We partnered with young people with summer jobs, and we had them paint the rooftops silver or white to deal with the decarbonization issue, and it was a win-win. There are so many jobs we can create from the retrofitting buildings, teaching our young people the skills that are needed, middle-class union jobs, so they too can own their apartment in a co-op, participate in the greening of our city. And so we're excited about this moment. We're committed, we're dedicated to getting stuff done. You know our motto, GSD. We're going to be the administration that's known not only to be NYC, but GSD, get stuff done and get the bureaucracy out of moving our city forward. So Rit, the team, thank you, all of you who are here, our amazing electeds and our partners, thank you so much. Rit?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Now I'd like to ask Kizzy Charles Guzman, Executive Director of the Mayor's Office of Climate and Environmental Justice, to speak.
Good morning, everybody. Buenos días. Buenos días.
Yes.
Again, my name is Kizzy Charles Guzman, Executive Director of the Mayor's Office of Climate and Environmental Justice. I am thrilled to be here on this beautiful day. Happy Earth Day. We are on the path to a healthier, more equitable, and more sustainable city. 3 years ago, the City Council passed Local Law 97, which requires the city's largest buildings to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions. It's a cornerstone of the historic Climate Mobilization Act. And as the mayor explained, our buildings represent most of our carbon emissions, and this administration is committed to an aggressive decarbonization effort. Buildings like the Fairview know all too well that the risks that our city faces from climate change are not in the distant future. They are impacting our communities here and now, today. And not all communities are impacted equally. This is why we have these aggressive and bold climate goals as a city, but it's also why we are committed to supporting all buildings and becoming decarbonization leaders like the Fairview. And in particular, we are committed to supporting and doing outreach to buildings in environmental justice neighborhoods, places where every ounce of carbon, soot, and fossil fuel pollution that we remove from the air really matters to people. It is so important to be standing here today with the Fairview's residents because their experience has shown us that the urgency and magnitude of the climate crisis require us to act quickly, but we still need to tackle this challenge just one building at a time. And this is why my team has spent so much effort building the New York City Accelerator. This free program helps building owners understand the strategies that will work for their buildings. It's not a one-size-fits-all. We offer personalized service, assistance, and advice, and we can help you get connected to incentives to help pay for projects that lower your costs, bring more comfort to your tenants, improve our air quality, and help comply with local laws. It is a win-win-win, right? So here are the Fairview Cooperative residents. This is just one of the 9,000 properties that have already benefited from the city program. They've made energy upgrades, they repaired damaged solar panels, and they access intensive programs to help the building comply with Local Law 97. So I just want to thank Fairview and all of the residents for their commitment to sustainability. We are so proud to be partners with you. With the launch of Building Action NYC, we're going to drive even more properties like this one into the accelerator. We want to ensure that we are reaching those that stand to benefit the most so that we can pick up the pace and get to carbon neutrality by 2050. We know that this support is critical for Local Law 97 compliance, for reducing our dependence on fossil fuels, and for transitioning our city to a clean and green economy. The assistance we provide does add up to big change. When building owners add solar panels or upgrade their old boilers to heat pumps, they're not only improving the efficiency of their buildings, they're also redefining the way that New York City functions. And they are supporting green jobs and our economic recovery. When we talk about energy efficiency upgrades, we're talking about making our city better for everyone and for future generations. A key aspect is that future is to develop and sustain our workforce. The Accelerator is designed to connect building decision makers with local businesses that can implement those projects. And those connections are critical for transforming the market by connecting the demand with the supply and creating thousands of local jobs in the process while carbon is being reduced at the same time. So again, this is a win-win. With the support of the Accelerator, the Fairview here is on their way to becoming the first co-op to use PACE financing. What that means is that they will repay for their loan in installments through a charge on their property tax bill. So that means they don't have to worry about the upfront cost of all this great work they've done. So we're here today to acknowledge the very real need of retrofitting our existing buildings so that they're safe and healthy and resilient and sustainable for all New Yorkers. But we're also here to celebrate the strides that leaders like the Fairview have made in helping transform New York City. One building upgrade at a time, we will achieve a carbon-free future. We will do this together. A special thank you to my team and all our partners without whom all this work would not have been possible. Thank you and happy Earth Week.
Thank you, Kizzy. And of course, you know, we all know that when we finally get all those cars and trucks electrified, not only it'll be better for the planet, they'll be a lot quieter, right? Then we'll come back out here and do this again. But of course, it's my great honor and privilege to introduce Congresswoman Grace Meng. Please, thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner, and thank you to Mayor Adams and your entire team for all the work that you've done, and today especially for coming back to Queens. It really means a lot to us as Queens neighbors, especially here in Fairview and our congressional district, where our district and our communities and neighbors were disproportionately impacted by Hurricane Ida and have continued to be disproportionately affected by climate change. here with President Carlson and so many of our neighbors and residents of Fairview. We gathered in the hours after Hurricane Ida with our Councilwoman Lynn Shulman, with our Community Board 6, Frank and your colleagues and everyone. We hugged, we cried, and we mourned over too much and too many that were lost right here in our district. And so here today, as we celebrate Earth Day, this is an example of Mayor Adams and his team putting actions behind his words. We can't just say Happy Earth Day. We have to make sure that we are expanding and building upon partnerships like this, where we are literally helping to create green jobs and to make sure that our buildings are responsibly retrofitted. And so we're really excited to be here today. Here in Queens, it's really important for all of us. I am proud to also be here and wanted to thank our then Councilman Donovan Richard and his colleagues for passing legislation that made programs like this possible. In Congress, we passed the bipartisan infrastructure law that also provides hundreds of millions of grants so that the rest of the country could follow in the steps of New York City and what they're doing and making sure that our buildings across the nation, in both rural to urban to suburban areas, are retrofitted responsibly. Our kids, our younger generation, ask for this. They beg for this because they are the ones who will have to live with the consequences if we as adults and we as community and government leaders do not act responsibly. So I'm very grateful for the Adams administration for being here today. Thank you for recognizing our neighbors and our families in Queens. And we look forward to making sure that even more of our buildings and our neighbors benefit from programs like this.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Now it's my great privilege to invite Borough President Donovan Richards.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for being here. I always love hanging out with the GSD crew, Get Stuff Done crew, especially in Queens, but truly an honor. Happy Earth Day to each and every one of you. And just yesterday, my office launched the Urban Operation Sustainability for Queens, which is our campaign to build a borough that is more resilient, more resistant to severe storms, and more rooted in equity. And today we've got another important sustainability campaign that is being launched right here in the world's borough. So I'd like to thank Mayor Adams for being here and keeping that Queens momentum going as we push to protect and preserve this borough and city as a whole. Here in Queens, every day is Earth Day, but not always. True, but not always for the right reasons. Every day is Earth Day because we're constantly reminded of just how beautiful this planet is. From the beaches of Rockaway to the cherry blossoms of Flushing Meadows, there's truly no place in Queens like Earth, Mr. Mayor, although you claim Brooklyn on some days. But every day we're also reminded of the damage we've inflicted on the only home our species knows. 10 years ago, this fall, Superstorm Sandy obliterated our waterfront communities, and it took years for families to recover, and they're still recovering. Last fall, we lost nearly a dozen neighbors as Hurricane Ida flooded communities that have never been flooded before like this one. Even today, these communities are still picking up pieces. And right here, as I mentioned, and as Congresswoman Grace Meng mentioned, we lost lives right here at Fairview, and the damage inflicted on our neighbors, our seniors, our working families still cannot be understated here and overstated as we stand here today. And with every breath our families take in places like Astoria's Asthma Alley, they inhale dangerous toxins emitted by nearby power plants. And for far too long, we've allowed fossil fuel consumption to go unchecked, and look where it's gotten us. Let's be clear, climate change isn't some far-off threat. It's been inflicting pain on our people for years. But we've taken so many steps to stem that tide, and New York City is becoming a global leader in resiliency and sustainability, thanks to many of our colleagues on the council and to this mayor. We further that mission today with the launch of Building Action New York City. And as the mayor mentioned, 70% of all carbon emissions come from buildings right across the city. And as the former city council member, but also put on my hat as the former chairman of the Environmental Protection Committee going back to 2013, was proud to pass the Green Roofs Bill, which is important because it mandates buildings 25,000 square feet and up to put solar panels, white roofs, and also wind turbines to cut carbon emissions on buildings across the city. And we know this can be done. Down in Far Rockaway, just yesterday, we were cutting another ribbon. Buildings like Beach Green Dunes run on geothermal technology, while Auburn East, right here in Queens, is set to become the first net zero community in the city. Right here at the Fairview, they're taking the initiative to be as energy efficient as possible by harnessing solar power. And I also have to mention that Queens leads the city in solar power installations, and we want to keep that going. On Wednesday at LaGuardia, we unveiled over 3,500 new solar panels that are going to help power the airport. And I just want to mention that we can't resolve this climate crisis without addressing inequity. We've got projects like the Champlain Hudson Power Express in the works as well, which will revolutionize clean energy consumption in Queens. New York City is quickly becoming a leader in all things through climate, but let's be honest, New York City is leading because Queens is doing the work. GSD, baby. I'm getting that tattooed tomorrow. So I'd like to thank Mayor Adams and his team once again for being here in Queens to get this campaign off the ground. And I'm happy to partner to ensure this initiative is successful. May you all have a blessed Earth Day. Congratulations to all who made this possible. GSD, baby.
Thank you, Borough President. Now I'd like to invite Councilmember Lynn Schulman.
Thank you, everyone. Happy Earth Day. It's very exciting to be here today, and I just want to say Queens is in the house today, right? So the last time I was here, I was a candidate, and I was here in sorrow with Congresswoman Grace Meng and Borough President Donovan Richards, and today is a day of celebration, which is just really exciting. And I see that the Borough President's wearing green. See, his wife knew it was Earth Day, so but I'm very glad to see that. And we are facing a once-in-a-lifetime public health challenge to save our planet from destruction. The Building Action New York City campaign will help make New York City a leader in adapting to meet the realities of climate change and address the needs of our broken infrastructure. I want to thank Mayor Adams and his team for his commitment to the environment and for coming to Fairview in my district in Forest Hills to highlight a wonderful example of how the New York City Accelerator program can help buildings reduce their carbon footprint. And just as a footnote, I want to say that Greg Carlson and I cut our teeth very early, many years ago, on Community Board 6, and he's taught me a lot about the environment, as has our borough president, who's helped me in my new role as a council member. And I also want to thank the mayor is not only getting stuff done here today, he's getting stuff done all over, and I'm very happy to be a council member in conjunction with this Adams administration. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Member. Now I'd like to invite Council Member Jim Gennaro, Chair of the Environmental Protection Committee.
Thank you. How do I follow all that? Oh my God. I was with the mayor the other day. The winds were crazy. And now again, the winds are going like, this man is a force of nature himself. That's what's going on here. This is what is happening. I just got to try to keep up. And at that last event, I'm going to stay on script. I got one paragraph, like for real. But we were talking about vegan diets, and when it was a rooftop garden, and we're talking about the consumption of cheese. And since that day, I haven't had any cheese, and the state of Wisconsin is really suffering. But Let me get into what I'm talking about here, for real. Okay, Mayor Adams, always great to be with you, the force of nature that you are. Representative Meng, a great environmental champion. Borough President Richards, rocking the green tie, as am I. Councilmember Schulman, another great environmental champion. Rit and Kizzy, the duo that is going to really make this city, as greener than greener. Jessica Katz, my good friend Frank Galuscio from Board 6, and my old-time good buddy Greg Carlson from back in the day, because once upon a time I used to represent the Fairview. Does anybody remember me? Okay. I know I have black hair then, I know. Rub it in, keep it up. Okay. And a special shout out to Donna DiCostanzo from the Natural Resources Defense Council, who served as the counsel to the Environmental Committee with great distinction for many years, and we'll all give her a standing ovation when this is over. Okay. Now I get into what I was actually, called here to say. Here we go. Quote, you can quote me. In the brief time Mayor Adams assumed the mayoralty, he has appointed an environmental team that is second to none in the country, and he is boldly seizing the opportunity to have New York City lead the country in decarbonization. Mayor Adams appreciates both the great benefits and significant challenges in decarbonization as prescribed in Local Law 97, and his good vision for the full and fair implementation of Local Law 97 will result in a city that is a beacon to all cities on the road to decarbonization. Building Action NYC will mobilize the city along lines of excellence to avail buildings of the resources provided by the New York City Accelerator. It will bring environmental justice and abundant green job opportunities to areas of the city that have been epicenters of environmental and economic injustice for generations. And it will not only dramatically reduce greenhouse gas emissions, but also significantly reduce the full range of air contaminants that result in unprecedented local clean air benefits for New York City's residents. I unreservedly give Building Action NYC my full support. How was that? Okay. We good? Okay. Very good.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now, for all the work that we do in making policy, the people who actually make the planet greener are the people who do it building by building. And I'd like to give my thanks and congratulations to Greg Carlson, the president of the Fairview Co-op Board, and invite him to speak.
Thank you. I may be the face of the Fairview as I speak to you as president of the Fairview, but it does take teamwork. I see very many of my fellow board members here in the audience that we work as a team, and we have behind me in the building, we have staff, we work as a team, and residents of this building as we work as a team, as well as our consultants, our energy consultants, and also the NYC Accelerator program that has helped us a lot in what we're doing here today. They gave me a script, but Greg doesn't always follow the script, all right? But I do want to say that, before I became board president, I managed this building for about 25 years. I know where every screw is, where every mortar joint is. I know all that. And I was very happy to bring my resources and my knowledge to the board when I was elected this past June. I, like all of us, like to tell building owners we need to do our part to protect the environment. I've worked with many people behind me for over 10 years on just doing that. I know some of these people here, and I see in the audience, Frank. All right, love you, Frank. That we all are here to do our part for the environment. What are we going to leave our children? What are we going to leave our children's children? We have to give them a healthy environment to stay in. Long before the city passed laws mandating things. I am not a fan of mandates, believe me. Give us incentives, don't give us mandates. We were aware that we needed to change the environmental footprint at the Fairview. And it was very, very, thinking ahead and thinking of the future and not just thinking about now. We put solar panels on the roof, and that helped reduce our monthly fuel bills completely in half, because we were on that dirty oil number 6. We can implement policies, and I'm very happy to argue with government officials about how to do it the right way, because I'm the guy with the feet on the ground, and I understand. Policy is one thing, but implementing something is different. Pretty soon we're all going to have to be in compliance with Local Law 97. I happen to be in the working group for multifamily, working group to advise the advisory board on what to do to implement. We are winding up our work and be reporting to the advisory group, who then will report to the city council and the mayor's office. If we need to do something, this past weekend, this building was flooded in the basement. The garage was flooded again. And I just want to say, we actually lost a life here during Ida. We lost a life. Cars can be replaced, doors can be replaced, but a life cannot be replaced. So we're moving ahead with my team, with my board, all right, about getting the Army Corps of Engineers here. They have a long-term plan. It's going to take years to implement it, but it's to migrate any flood possibility. So I just want to say, everybody that's listening, use the NYC Accelerator program. It's free support and free resources for all building owners. Please use that. Let these programs, like myself, do their part, and let's all step up to the plate, and thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you.
The city is clearly taking some steps, but skeptics do say that carbon neutrality may not be possible by 2050. Do you have confidence that you can reach that goal?
Yes, 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 and yes. And not only reach that goal, but really build out the pipeline of employment to reach that goal. Because the administration is about ending inequality, the proper job training, everything from retrofitting to the new technology. I met with an Israeli company that is talking about how do we build out electric vehicles. I met with a company from Vietnam that is at the car show. They opened an electric vehicle plant in Carolina. We want to attract them here to New York. So it's more than changing the environment of the air we breathe. We need to change the environment of the lifestyle people are living that we left behind. So yes, I do believe we can reach that goal.
May I ask you also about your personal contribution, your lifestyle? We know you have a plant-based diet. I believe the city vehicles you use are hybrid. Do you compost? Do you take other steps?
If you come to City Hall, look in the kitchen. I have a compost. I have a, where I put my recyclables located, LED lights at home. Which many people don't realize, one of the biggest contributors to our carbon issue is feed for cattle, the overconsumption of meat. That's something that's not talked about. We're going to really start showing New Yorkers how our lifestyles can really decrease the carbon issue. So personally, I want to continue to decrease my carbon. We all can do better. I want to do better, and I constantly seek out ways of doing so.
Yeah, last month, several council members and also the comptroller called on you to fully fund Local Law 97 after you released your preliminary budget. Is that something you're willing to do?
We're still in the budgetary talks, still a conversation. So many people say, well, you know what, Eric is not going to be aggressive about that. Wrong. I'm going to be extremely aggressive about it. I did not start as mayor talking about improving our environment. This is something I'm committed to. I'm going to continue to do so. And we're still in budget talks. This is the budget dance that takes place right now. We are going to be fine. Trust me. Everybody's going, we're going to do, in the words of Rodney King, we are all going to get along. Trust me.
So if not,
okay.
We'll ask elected folks.
Yes, we're going to take a quick picture and we'll come back for a few off topics.
We'll put on that off topic.
Hold on, we're going to do a quick. Yes. Yeah, we're going to do a few off topics. I'm good? Okay.
Very fast, Mr.
Yes,
Mayor.
yes.
So dozens of DOE employees were caught with fake vaccination cards that are placed on unpaid leave. Have you given more consideration to whether you're going to lift the vaccine mandate for city employees and private employers as well? Any movement at all?
No, not at all. And I'm really disappointed to learn that there were fake vaccination cards. Not only is that illegal, it undermines our entire trust. And so my understanding is being investigated, and we're going to see the outcome of the investigation.